Good morning, sports fans. This is Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. Sponsored by Bill Bryant Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. And how was that for the letting the music go on a bit?
I thought,
before
you know what, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
You're right.
I thought you jumped the gun last week, and I felt empowered to say something.
I just get so darn excited when the show starts.
And the fact of the matter is, I have to give you kudos for timing it very, very well this week. So,
you
take the compliment.
The professional.
No, first of all, that's not true at all. But I think that you've got your timing down just right. What I am is a critic.
Right.
and there's nothing worse than a critic that doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's me.
Well,
so
don't make me break out my Theodore Roosevelt speech at the Sorbonne talking about the critics.
You know what's bad about that is I'm not sure I even know what he's talking about, folks. But I'm sure it was a big. And I was a history major. I don't even know that one. I do know it, but I can't.
It's his famous arena speech.
The Sorbonne.
Yes.
That's right, at the Sorbonne.
And
okay, well, I'm loaded for bear. I'm pretty excited with all the things that we have going on. But should we bring down the false idols? I'm looking at my gut reaction is let's talk a little bit about the Ezekiel Elliott suspension for 6. And what I really laugh at is the lawyers speak. You get all the lawyers. The lawyers say that the NFL findings are replete with factual inaccuracies and erroneous conclusions, and it cherry picks so-called evidence to support its conclusions. I would love to see them be held accountable for those comments, but nobody's going to make them accountable. Right. So they're empowered, I guess. But this is something that I guarantee you they've looked at very closely. And 6 games, I'm sure it'll be reduced. If I had to make my guess, they'll reduce it to 4.
Right.
But, I mean, that's a problem. If this, I haven't got the mindset to figure out why. If you have the world by the tail, and I think a first-year star football player or baseball player has the world by the tail. You're 22.
Right.
You made gazillion dollars. You're going to make more. Can't you keep yourself under control a little bit? Is everything else that important? I just don't think it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, if everybody was heaping accolades on you, would you want to go out and if somebody drove by you and say gave you the finger or something, would you feel like it would be important that you catch up to that guy, ram into him with your car? And I don't think I would. Thanks for going along with me on it. Yeah, but I find these things to be so trivial and silly. And
well, wasn't his suspension for domestic violence?
Yes, twice.
Right.
He's had two instances, and I mean, I can't believe that they're just whistling in the dark and let's see if we can go after Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, I think these are probably substantiated. And, we'll see where it goes. What usually happens in this situation is you go after the women and tell them to change,
you pay them off.
Change their minds. Yes, pay them off, tell them to change their mind. They were wrong. They made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he's going to get away with that on this, but I said, let the courts.
I thought they did recant. That's why the suspension took so long.
Well, I think they did recant, but I guess the evidence is obviously.
Well, yeah,
it's more than circumstantial. Right. So we'll see where it gives. But I mean, good grief. Was he the Heisman? No, he didn't win the Heisman. I think he came in second. But the guy has he's the rookie of the year. He's everything. The team's on the way up. The team looks like they're going to be in the playoffs for the next 10 years with him and the quarterback. And just to, I mean, if you're hanging out with the girl that upsets you that much, I break it off. I mean, I just don't. But who knows what's involved? But it makes me sad, but it also makes me go, well, what did you expect?
I think Giants fans are happy.
All of a sudden they are, because the Giants all of a sudden, I think they're playing one of the games. Are they playing one of the games in Dallas or in New York? They open. Where do they open?
I'm not really sure,
me
but
neither.
I know they'll play him within those first 6 games because they always do.
Don't they usually open with them? I thought that was like a not written in stone, but I thought they always did.
They could. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but the Giants, everybody, the Eagles, I think they're all going to be happy.
The Redskins,
yes. Yeah. But I just wanted to touch base on that. Because I always find these type of things to be depressing. And while we're talking football, and I was talking to you on the way over, I cannot think of a bigger scam perpetrated on the country than NFL preseason football.
Yeah.
If you think you're watching good football, if you think you're watching something that matters, or if you think you're watching anything that gives you any idea how good anybody's going to be, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
And I understand the marketing concept. I understand, hey, if you want to get season tickets and everybody's climbing over each other to get them, why not,
here's one of the arguments. It's not really an argument, but here's one of the, I don't know, from a fan's point of view, the justification for a fan who could never go see a regular season game.
Yeah.
A lot of those tickets are available at a fraction of the cost on like StubHub.
But you're not going to get to see any of the players.
No, I know, I understand that, but you get this. I guess you get this. You're rooting for the uniform anyway, according to Seinfeld. But so
well,
you get to see the Giants uniform in action.
I mean, to me, it's like giving a starving dog a rubber bone. I'm not sure that. I'm sorry, that's kind of a silly, but I think it's appropriate.
Well, I'm not. I'm just saying that's one of. I'm not saying I agree with it.
No, I understand. I understand. But I just, as I hear, and I mean, and it ties up the airways, and it's tying up this radio airway.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got to talk about preseason football.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely. I mean, even if you're a big fan, I get it.
Right.
You went down and you were rooting while they were drafting somebody in the 8th round out of Maryland Eastern Shores or something,
well,
and you knew who those people were. It's still, I mean, what I can see so you want to see who makes the team. So I get the last one, but right now it's a hodgepodge that I would think would be impossible to decipher.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you someone who it really upset preseason football was my mother because, and I didn't know they showed football on ABC, preempted her her Jeopardy.
Her Jeopardy was preempted by, so you could see dueling third-string quarterbacks. In fact, I didn't even know about it, and I'm a fairly avid football fan, but I see that in fact, you're a Giants fan, right?
I mean, I like the Giants. Yeah.
Did you know they played the Steelers last night?
I did not.
I didn't either. I didn't know. Listen to this power pack. Here's a recap of the game, and I'm going to be brief. But rookie quarterback Josh Dobbs threw a 28-yard touchdown pass. No, what team is he on?
The Calgary Stampede.
No, he's on the Steelers.
Wow.
I never heard of him. But no, actually, he was like their 8th round pick or something.
Right. So he will be on the Calgary Stampede.
And whoever wrote this, he's probably going to get his hands slapped. Let's see. Steelers capitalized on 2 major Giants turnovers in a preseason opener for both teams. Terrell Watson added a 15-yard touchdown run in a game that had little offense, with Ben Roethlisberger of the Steelers and Eli Manning of the Giants both given the night off.
Right.
Now, if you went to see that game,
Well, it was Friday night.
the point, I guess, and I'm not trying to be snarky or a wise guy, but really, I mean, people are flocking to see games on TV. I mean,
Just out of curiosity, is they have like the box score?
no,
kind of
there's
thing?
no box.
Oh,
no.
okay. Because I was wondering if they showed the attendance. That would have been
No,
interesting.
there's no box score, no
Okay.
attendance, and
Well, one of the things I want to bring up with football has been talking about going to adding a couple more games.
I don't know how they can.
Well, I think it's become very quiet now because of all of this head injury stuff. But one of the things that they were talking about was to add 2 more games and dropping 2 of the preseason games. But I think with this CTE stuff going on, I don't think they could justify adding 2
I
more
was going to
games.
say, how can you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking on both sides of your mouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they wanted to, but they can't. And I'm sure if somehow the CTE stuff, just say it magically kind of went away, I think that talk would come back pretty quickly.
well, I guess you're right. But I mean, just. And I know we're all, we get stuff pounded into our brains, but I'm asking you, as I consider you to be a level-headed, red-blooded
Well,
American
there's your first mistake.
sports fan, but what is the possible, and I'm not being funny or wise,
Right.
because I'm a sports fan.
Sure.
What's the possible interest in preseason football games?
I really have no interest in any preseason, with the exception of baseball. I kind of like baseball, but even like hockey, which I'm a big fan of, I just
I don't see the point to it.
Right.
The teams are scouted. The ownership knows the players,
Right.
and the coaches will make the decision on who gets picked up or not. And I'm just wondering how many people here. Terrell Watson added a 15-yard touchdown pass for the touchdown run for the Steelers. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Terrell Watson's not going to make the Steelers.
Right.
And I think
Well, I don't disagree with you.
So and I see the promotion on the television.
Yeah.
The Giants and Buccaneers preseason football Thursday night. And I think, who has got a life that's so depressing that they have to watch? I can't wait to see our third string quarterback and third string offensive lineman beat up their fourth string. I just don't get. To me, it's going to eventually, I think, lose. Well, first of all, it's going to be serious. If you put your good players in, they're going to get hurt.
Right.
Then you look like a bozo for doing it. And you tell me. I mean, they got the training camps. Do you really need your guys to go out and risk getting hurt? Your star players. Do you really think they don't know how to play football?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you can do contact. You can hit them up high and stuff, and,
Right.
and if something unfortunate happens, it does. But good grief.
Well, maybe they should start in preseason. They should start testing out, the flag football, which is,
it may
what
be
all the haters want.
It
want
may
to
be
do.
coming. I know about that, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be
No.
a Debbie Downer.
That
but,
was all good stuff.
Well, please call 352-315-1410 if you like preseason football, because I can't get it, and I don't think I'm stupid, but I've been told that I am.
No.
Thank you,
I don't
Coach.
believe that at all.
All right, wrap us up.
All right, you are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410. We're sponsored by Bill Bryant Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And we will be back. We'll be talking some more sports. I think I have all the soccer scores and stuff like that. So we'll be back right after these messages from our sponsors. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. Our call-in line is 352-315-1410. If you want to rebut anything Mr. Wiltman has said.
Rebut away is what I'm saying. But while we're ranting, and actually while I'm ranting, but the fact of the matter is, with college football just around the corner, and again, I'm not trying to be snarky, but past the bromo seltzer, if I hear one more person call somebody a true freshman, here's the point. Here's the point. Really, somebody thought this was clever.
Right.
Because you've got your red shirt freshman and you've got your true freshman.
Right.
Well, I'm going to call them false freshmen. If you're not a true freshman, you're a false freshman.
Right.
And the fact is that this doesn't make you a smart analyst or announcer.
Right.
Just say he's a freshman. Do you care about how old he is, or do you care about how much eligibility he has if you are a fan?
Actually, neither.
Okay. You know what? That's the type of honest analysis you get
Well,
from
I
Greg.
try.
Yeah, but that's okay. But the fact of the matter is I get where you're coming from. But more importantly, come on, do we really need to get these made up? Is that he's only 18. He's not 19. Okay, good. Okay, the fact is maybe he's a true freshman, but he went through 7 years of high school. I don't know, and I don't care about it. But the fact of the matter is all I care about is the eligibility. So whether you're red-shirted or whether you're true or false, you got 4 years unless you leave to go sign a pro contract.
Right.
Go have fun. But I'm sorry, didn't mean to get into that too much, but that you're going to hear the phrase every time somebody who is a freshman but has not been redshirted do something, he's going to be called and he's a true freshman.
Great.
Here's the starting lineups, a true freshman out of Jones Water High School, and I think, boy, do I hate that.
Yeah.
It's he's a freshman. I got it. Okay, that's all that matters to me.
All right, I'm going to segue into a little high school football.
Oh, this isn't fair, but go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to. You mentioned high school, so I was looking for the segue.
You found a way to sneak in, and you did it. My mistake.
Yes. Anyway, Leesburg High School. We're going to be carrying the games here.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
So you listen to Red Zone Radio, you're going to pick the ball games up.
Right.
And
every Friday night at
14:10 a.m. on your AM dial, WQBQ Leesburg, and we are covering the Leesburg football game.
And sponsoring the show, of course, a
Brian?
great sponsor, Bill Bryan.
Bill Bryan, fantastic.
And Bill Bryan Kia and Bill Bryan Subaru. So they're all in. So they're supporting the local sports.
You know what? And nobody needs us to preach on that. But
right.
Who's showing a vested interest in the community?
Right.
I mean, I'll let you decide that for yourself. But
and then also Ashley's Auto Repair, who's been a big sponsor on this station.
Yes.
And DCO Flooring.
Yes.
Sutter Air Conditioning. And Pat's Pawn and Gun in Leesburg, which I have to say I've made some purchases from them.
Okay, well, and I think that's fantastic. Those are the businesses that are invested in the community.
Yeah.
Like I said. Okay, enough of that.
We can get back to our rants now.
Yeah, read between the lines on that. And back to the rants, I should say. But, okay, yeah, you make a good point. I wanted to talk a little bit about
Stan Musial.
I really would like to talk about all the hullabaloo now. Another thing, and I'm not here to try to point out all the fallacies or all the problems I have with sports, because I love sports. Nothing better as a sidelight or some kind of a distraction. But everybody's going to get all excited about preseason rankings.
Yes.
And I can think of nothing dumber. It's tantamount to me to watching a marathon race and get excited because at the half-mile mark, some guy you've never heard of is winning. It's absolutely. I mean, if it makes people feel good or bad to know that they were preceded, their preseason ranking was 4, and halfway through the year they're up to 9. I wouldn't get all upset about it if I were you.
Right.
Two things happened: either that you were incorrectly ranked, or you had a bad game and you're trying to fight back from it. But the fact of the matter is,
so I'm gonna assume Alabama is ranked number 1.
You would be assuming correctly.
Now, what I would find really delicious, if you will, is that if they came out of the box and lost their first game.
Well, they're playing Florida State,
Mm.
and Florida State's third ranked.
Right.
Rank, and I bite my lip, but they're playing Florida State, so that's two really good football teams, and they're playing at a neutral field in Atlanta. One of them's going to lose, and I think you can see now where everybody used to get their a lot of these teams who were trying to compete for the national championship, getting their brains beaten by trying to have the Little Sisters of the Poor 6 times in their first 6 games.
Right.
You know what? Go play somebody great at the beginning of the year. If you lose and then you win 10 or 11 in a row, I'll bet you do pretty well when it comes time to pick to see who gets to play for the national championship.
Right.
But to win your first 6 games, I don't want to say erroneously, but the false impression you get is, wow, they're really good. Wow, they're really good. Team A just beat Youngstown State 52-13, and then they just beat Fordham 49-3. And I think, okay, but the problem with that is they're not playing comparable competition.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden they're 7-0, and you hear all the pun. And they've won by an average of 53 points. They've beaten their opponents, and I think, but their opponents aren't legitimate.
Right.
But nobody. I would like to see. And I don't think we're breaking any ground here, but wouldn't you like to see people present sports that way? I would.
Yeah.
That's why I do it. I
agree.
mean, I don't know I'm right or wrong at it, but
but
I just it is such a misnomer. It is so misleading. And I can't. And I know there's a laziness to. Wouldn't somebody just want to say, "Oh, I can't do this. I can't report this." They just beat Troy. Okay, Alabama just beat Troy, New York, 69-3. And I said, "Well, now that's going to skew their numbers, so their average victory over opponents is going to be 50 a game." Who cares?
Well, you had asked me if I had any Jessica Mendoza news. And I don't.
Wait a minute, I didn't ask that.
On the way over.
Actually, I did.
But that's the kind of stuff you get from Jessica Mendoza.
Yeah, and I get mad. I get mad at it. And you know what? If maybe there are data to suggest that that's what people want to hear. I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
Not as a sports fan. I don't want to hear.
When
average victory over crummy teams.
You and I have conversations outside of the two of us with people in sports.
Absolutely.
I never have a conversation with people talking about, oh, did you see the rankings, or that
or did you say, hey, did you see they're averaging 52 points a game over their opponent?
Right.
No,
I never.
I agree
don't think
with.
I've ever had that conversation.
You know what? You make a great point, by the way, because take it out of the context of a sportscast, it's not even discussion worthy.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
So same thing with the rankings. Does anybody care? Ask any team, even if they're ranked 7th.
Well, I do.
Do you care?
Once the season starts, though, I think people do pay attention to the rankings.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're a Florida State fan, you kind of look to see, because you're hoping that they're going to get a national championship, and part of that is.
But you can't. It can't be determined after 3 games.
No. But I'm just saying you keep an eye on it. I mean, because the season's short.
Well, I'd be
but I'm not really disagreeing.
I keep an eye on if they're winning their games against whom.
And I'm just kind of like giving you my opinion on that because I've had conversations with people. And they will. Oh, Florida State's number 3.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a Florida State fan. Right. He went there, and he said they're 3rd.
Right.
And I said, "Does that matter right now?" He goes, "No."
No, but I agree with you. At the beginning of the season, it's useless.
It's 2 hours on each network a weekend,
yes.
And I think, are we really hurting? I mean, there's so much more to talk about. Just in the basics of the baseball race, but everybody's so afraid that somebody's going to turn an NFL news story over on them, and they're not going to be on top of it. Right. So they've got to stay on top. But no, you're right. You know what I've never talked about with you or anybody else is exit velocities on home runs. I don't call and say,
I bring that up all the time on this show. exactly.
Whips and wars. I like
Yeah.
that. And we will test people someday about what a whip is. A war. And I like the wins above replacement. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's
You know,
ridiculous.
how often I win, the team wins with me versus the guy taking my place.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And you know
Nothing more valuable.
they even have a stadium statistic on that war as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. So even like depending on what stadium you play in could affect your war.
You're giving me a headache, Greg,
Yeah,
but that's
well,
okay.
That's my job. That's what James pays me the big bucks
That's
for.
why you get paid the big bucks.
Give you a headache.
And you're doing a great job, by the way.
No, and I find that I find it very ridiculous. And if you want to get more on that, just listen to Jessica Mendoza. She will just. She's a stat queen.
It sounds like we're here dumping on it, and actually, but she and the reason we bring her up is Greg said, "Watch this girl," and she's I guess she's a fresh, pretty presence, but she gets into everything that I find totally uninteresting about sports. I don't care about the socioeconomic value of, and I guess you can hide behind it as a sportscaster and say, yeah, but that's what everybody wants to hear. I don't think they do. I don't remember all my great sportscasters talking about, having,
Right.
how much money is being spent in one department on something because of some kind of legislation or law. I don't care about that.
Right.
I care about why is the team winning, why is the team losing, why are they doing well, why aren't they doing well,
Right.
and aren't these rule changes great or stupid depending on your point of view.
Right.
To me, that's important, or at least something that's discussion worthy. What
Yeah.
do you want to get into a discussion with a sports fan? And we've done this. Go up and say, let's talk about instant replay. Everybody, and who's a sports fan, has an opinion
Yeah.
on instant replay.
Yeah.
They won't blow you off. They won't say, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it." They'll say, "Oh, I think you got to have it," or "No, everybody seems to have an opinion."
Yeah.
Do you agree with me?
I do agree
yeah,
with you.
that's what I mean. So that to me is a topic that's intelligent. That's a sports topic you want to talk about. I don't want to talk about all the people that that it's putting out of work or putting into work, or how many people are buying tickets based on the fact that instant replay, the game is slowing up, and it's because instant replay, or it's not because instant replay, and the games aren't they aren't officiated as well as they should be because they don't have enough. But I don't want to get into. I just want to talk about the, why is it being used? What's it trying to accomplish? Here's why I think it is. Here's why I think it isn't. Boom. Leave it at that.
Right.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. But
We agree too much. I'm gonna have
that can't be happening.
I'm gonna have to be the contrarian here.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go some places where you don't know anything about the sports, and we can you can be actually.
That's a big, broad subject.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'll tell you something we can't talk about as I make my segue into the baseball, Major League Baseball, which, by the way, it depends on, again, how you look at it. It's a very intriguing year because you've got a bunch of races that are runaways, and you've got a bunch of races with quote-unquote mediocre teams,
Right.
where they're all vying for, I was looking at the records. There's 6 teams vying for the second wild card in the American League Baseball race, and none of them have winning records. I'm looking at L.A., Texas. I shouldn't say none. That's not fair. They've all got one game over 500. You got Tampa Bay. I'm going to say I think the Yankees are going to be in the playoffs. They and Boston, I think, are the 2 teams from the East.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have Cleveland. Then you're going to have Houston, obviously. But then the second wild card, Minnesota, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Seattle, Los Angeles, and Texas. They're all in it. They're all in it. So that's what baseball wanted, and I'm for that. I mean, it keeps everybody in the cities interested in the sport. But I'd like to see them playing a little bit better. They're just, they're just not getting it done, a lot of these teams.
Well, I
Give
guess.
me what's your take on it?
Well, you're saying like Baltimore is in it. I guess they're two games out.
2 games. Well, that don't you call that in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But also on the other hand, there's a lot of teams they have to leapfrog.
Yeah, but
that's
2 games, and they've got 45 left.
I know what you're saying. I guess I'm coming from a different angle of like, they're in it. I agree with you. They've got a shot.
Yeah, they do. But you're just saying they're not a very good team.
No.
Well, okay,
That's kind of.
But I can say that about Seattle. I can say
Right.
that about the Angels. I can say that about Texas. I can say that about Kansas City, who just
Yeah.
got their ears pinned back by their crosstown rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals,
Yeah.
who went into Kansas City and just drilled them.
Right.
I mean, scored like 10 runs, over 10 runs all 3 games.
Because of the rally cat.
Yeah, the rally, and that's an interesting story. I don't know if everybody heard that story, but yeah, what the cat came out and they hit a grand slam, and then nobody could find the cat, so they paid some. Guido came out and shot the cat.
No, they said they said the cat is well and in good hands.
I want pictures. I demand pictures. I demand photographs. I want an interview with that cat.
Yeah, I don't think baseball is that heartless.
All right. Well, you never know. But no, that's a great point. But I wanted to bring that up.
Gotta love the rally cat.
We will do the rally cat, and we will talk baseball when we get back after these words from our wonderful sponsors.
All right. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We're sponsored by Bill Bryant, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. We are back with our Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. Our call-in number is 352-315-1410. And I've got James here.
What's he
Don't
doing?
be scared. I'm just looking over your
I was going to say, does James have something he wants to say about the?
He's critiquing me.
Oh, okay.
Very nervous.
Hey, I do got something I want to say.
Put him
Kill
on.
the mic for just a minute. Just kill the mics for a minute.
All right.
We got spirit. Yes, we do. We got spirit. How about you? Go Yellow Jackets. Friday Night Football now on the queue every Friday night, starting at 6 p.m. for the Coaches Show and 7 p.m. for Friday Night Football. Friday Night Football can be heard several ways. First, 1410 on your AM dial. Second, go to our website at www.wqbq1410.com. Third, download a free app on your tablet or your smartphone. Go to your Play Store. It's called Simple Radio. Download it, open it, then type in 1410 and look for the Q logo. Press the play arrow and you're listening in stereo. Headphones or external speaker will do. The internet has brought us an amazing way to allow your friends and family who live in another area or in another state to be able to listen to live play-by-play football as it's played out. Tell all of your friends about the Q. WQBQ 1410 AM. We are the voice of Lake County.
Nice.
I love it. And again, I always say, last time I'll say it, I'll still say it, pay attention to who's sponsoring these broadcasts, because they're the ones that are invested in the community, folks. Just making that point.
Yeah.
For the third time, but
Right.
probably not the last one, but it's got to sink in. These are the people that you should be supporting with your business.
Right.
So, back to baseball. And I'm going to talk about something that has always been stuck in my craw, and I say I got your attention on this one, Greg. But
Yes.
I'm going to talk about 3 games last night. Major leads were blown in 3 of them. Actually 4, because the one is not even written up in here.
Right.
4 leads were blown. Unfortunately, three of the 4 games, the teams that had the lead and blew the lead won the game. One they didn't, and it goes into this again. Let's pull the starter, mentality. I just can't take it. Adam Wainwright last night leaves the game after 5 innings with a 6-1 lead, and 1 inning later it's 6-5. And I think you tell me he can't pitch more than 5 innings? Why in the world would you take him out? There was Cole Hamels is leading 5-0 after 7 innings, 3 hits, no walks, no runs. They pull him. All of a sudden, it's now 5-4. Then now his team ended up winning. But I think, and the Red Sox pulled their Rodriguez after 6 innings. Maybe he's not used to pitching that long. But all of a sudden, the Yankees score 5 runs in the 8th off the relief corps, and boom.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that you can say that's backseat driving, and maybe I have to agree with you a little bit on it. I just want to see why somebody doesn't, and it's not backseat driving. I want to know why your pitcher can't pitch more than 5 innings.
I don't get it.
Cole Hamels, 7 innings, 3 hits. He threw like 80 pitches. You got to take him out? What are you afraid of?
Yeah.
That he's going to hurt himself? Why aren't you worried about him hurting himself pitching the 7th inning? I mean, it doesn't make sense. And, I mean, he's probably thinking, why are you out here? Why are you taking me out? Now, but to me, it's a legitimate question that should be asked. Every time, if I'm a reporter,
Right.
I'm going to say, why? Why take him out?
Yep.
I can't figure it out.
I agree. They should be at least going into the 7th inning.
At least. And I'm sorry. Isn't the idea to win the game?
Yeah, and they're getting fewer starts. This isn't like 1968 where they're getting 40 starts.
But here's the Cardinals. Isn't the idea to win the game?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
Rally cat.
Five innings of Wainwright, and 4 hits and a run, and they take him out because he's got a 6-1 lead.
Right.
And then now it's 6-5.
Right.
I mean, why? It doesn't make it makes no sense.
Is it a box score? Is there a pitch count there? And I know I'm loath to bring up the pitch count. I do think there might be some validity into that when it's into the 120s.
Oh yeah, I agree. When it gets up in the 120s,
Yeah.
I can see guys getting tired.
Right.
I can't see him getting tired
No.
after 75 pitches. I really can't.
Right. Me either.
So,
And
But-
they always talk about the magical number of 100. And here's another thing that a lot of these pitchers, who's the guy on? I can't remember his name. He was a former pitcher. He pitched for the Mets like in '86. Ron Darling.
Ron Darling.
Yeah, he was bringing up a point too. It's like not all pitchers are the same. Some pitchers can pitch 140 pitches very easily.
Sure.
Week after week, and then some pitchers can
And
only
that's
pitch
I think
around
that's
100.
I think that's been proven.
Yeah, and so to take out a guy just because they pitch 100 actually does a disservice to that guy who can easily go beyond.
Why is that the magic number too?
right.
That's another. I mean,
Yeah,
I want to see some data.
And humans love those even numbers, and I just think like that sort of stuff just is annoying.
Well, it is annoying.
These
And
rules that.
And I could just hear somebody saying, okay, so we're up 5-1 and we leave our starter in and he gets shelled in the 6th inning. You're probably screaming, why didn't you put a relief pitcher
Right.
in for him? No, if he starts to get hit,
Right.
that's one thing.
Right.
But if he just take him out indiscriminately and
Right.
say, well, no, that's what I mean. I'm not making the argument. I'm just saying,
Right.
If you start hitting BBs off my pitcher, even if it's 2-1, I'll think about taking him out.
I love the 3-1 game when the pitcher in the 6th inning walks the first guy he faces, and the
they
manager runs out there and takes it. And usually, what follows that is a 2-run homer.
Yeah. Well, then you agree with me on that.
I do agree with you.
I mean, I see that all the time. Okay, he's after 6 innings, he's on a short leash. Why?
Yeah.
What did he do wrong? Okay, did he walked somebody in the 3rd inning? Did you get all panicky?
Right.
Now he's walked somebody in the 7th, and you're starting to sweat it out. Why?
Yeah.
Now somebody hits a screaming BB into the corner, and somebody pulls his fastball down the line for a double. I'd think about maybe he might be out of gas, but don't. The guy's he throws a 3-2 pitch just off the corner. Let's not send our pitching coach out
Right.
to have a big conversation.
Right.
But that's one of the things that really grabs me. I just want when I see and I know they have, and I don't think they used to do this, but now there's a post game press conference for every game. I don't think they used to. I think the manager used to go mad and go into the
Right.
locker room. Now you're required to go sit at the table and listen to the inane questions.
Right.
I get not wanting to be there for that. But one of the questions that would make sense to me is, why did you take your pitcher out with a 6-1 lead in the 7th inning?
Yeah.
And is it you were afraid he was going to hurt himself?
It's because I really don't believe that a guy who pitches in the major leagues and you're taking him out in August, that helps him in September or late September run, say. And I've heard that.
Well, it's
you're-
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then the next time it comes up, you say, "Well, gee, I had to take him out in the 7th inning last time."
Right.
No, you took him out in the 7th inning. You didn't have to.
Right.
And I mean, but that's what I mean. All of a sudden, then the mindset comes, he can't go more than 6. Well, yeah, but that's self-fulfilling. You're the one that made that determination.
Yeah.
He wants to go, And I'm not saying let the pitcher say, but talk to the catcher. I mean,
Yeah.
say, how's his stuff? Is it still good? Catcher will say, I don't know. One catcher is going to say, "Oh, it's still pretty good," when it's not.
Right.
He's going to say, "No, I think he's had it." I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah.
If I'm a pitching coach, I call the catcher out and say, "How's he doing? Is his stuff still moving?"
Right.
But that's me. But but one of the things I just think I never see anybody ask a coach at these. I hear stupid stuff about the press conference. Boy, Joey's swinging the bat well. Did he look that good in the cage? I mean, that's the type of questions you get. And the fact of the matter is, the question could be, why would you take a 10-year veteran out in the 6th inning if he's up 7-1? Were you afraid? Were you, in fact, if you don't tell me, I'm going to take a guess. You either thought he was going to get hurt,
Right.
you thought that he was losing his stuff, or you thought that you already had the game in the bag.
Or you're an American League manager, and since you really have little to do,
Dude,
you're making changes for the fun of it, right?
Yeah, you're just trying to see what you can do to look like you're managing the game.
That's right.
But those are the type of things I'd really like to see addressed. And, what are the chances? Probably not good. How about and I think it was Joe West,
Yeah.
the umpire getting a 3-game suspension
Yes.
for criticizing, who was it? Was it Beltry?
Yes, it was.
It was Beltry.
and
he tweeted, or what did he do?
it was, I believe it was a talk show.
Okay.
And it was lighthearted humor, and apparently
Not so funny anymore.
Beltray and Joe West are actually get along really well. And so he was joking, around when he was that was what I read, was
Yeah.
that he was
Well-
this wasn't like he went out on some rant.
If nobody knows what we're talking about, Joe West got a 3-game suspension for publicly saying that Adrian Beltry was one of the biggest whiners in the league.
Right.
And I thought, if he said it at a press conference, that's one thing.
Right.
If he tweeted it or posted it somewhere, that's one thing. But he was on a talk show.
Yeah, it was an
and
interview.
And somebody says, "Well, name some of the whiners. Who do you think's one of the biggest whiners in the league?"
Right.
So if he answers that, he's screwed. The fact of the
See,
matter,
the safe answer would have been Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby, and he doesn't even play. He just whines so much we don't even want him on the. But the fact is, you leave Sidney out of it. How many rings does he have? Isn't that what
Hey,
they do now?
yeah,
Here's what they do.
that's
Oh
right.
yeah, how many championship rings does he have?
He's got a few of them.
And he probably whined about those.
They're not shiny
It's
enough.
not big enough. His diamond's not big enough. No. But getting back to the Joe West thing, I mean, I found it really, really over the top.
Me too.
3 games. I mean, if you want to punish him for saying you shouldn't say something like, but he's on a talk show, right?
Yeah, and why the suspension? Can't you just call him up and go, Joe, don't say that.
Yeah, that's exactly
You
right.
know.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I
And then
guess
you issue a little statement.
you have to
yeah,
make.
we told him.
Well,
not
I
to.
guess is it showboating for the players' union? I guess it is. Well,
I don't think that. I think this was all Manafort. This was not. This wasn't the players' union getting all upset or anything. It was just the commissioner of baseball. I guess he figures he's got nothing to do. He might as well suspend an umpire.
But you know what? I'll bet if you went to about 25 other umpires and said, "Who do you think's one of the biggest whiners in the league?"
Yeah.
They probably would have said Adrian Beltry.
Right.
And the fact is, but since they didn't say it out loud, they're not going to get
Right.
suspended. But he might have been speaking the truth, and
You-
he might have been answering a question
You
honestly.
know, and I'm okay. I'm going to interject politics.
Oh no!
Yeah, but it's like you have to watch every word that comes out of your mouth, because even if, I mean, and what he said, by no stretch of the imagination, to me, I find insulting or disturbing or
It's a
bad
response.
for
It's
baseball.
responsive.
It's just baseball. It's
It's
entertainment.
a response.
It's entertainment.
A response to a question.
Yeah, so you're gonna, and of course, I'm sure docking of the pay comes with the three games as well. So you're gonna do this because the guy said Adrian Beltre's a whiner.
Let's put it in another perspective. Okay, you're the manager of a team, and you pull Adam Wainwright
Right.
in the 6th inning, and some astute guy says, "Why'd you pull him?" And you say, "I thought he was losing his stuff."
Right.
Now, as Adam Wainwright goes, "Hey, what an offensive thing to
Right.
say!" Well, he answered a question. He
Yeah.
wasn't like trying to rip you. So,
Yep.
that's a very, very interesting point. So, but like I said, we're not going to solve the world's problems talking about it, but we like to bring it up.
Yeah.
So that's 1 hour in the books.
Wow.
Take us out of here.
It went fast.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We are sponsored by Bill Bryan, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, who is located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park, and their phone number is 352-787-2223. And they actually have a wonderful service department, and Ron Delgado, he's doing the sports, the football games, so you can go down and see. And we are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410. And you have some more rants?
I've got not more rants. I just want to talk baseball.
Okay.
And I think what we ought to do is put everything in perspective in this next segment. And let's just go. We got the 6 divisions. Let's talk American League first. And we're not going to talk about the teams that are out of it. So no offense to anybody who's a big Toronto, Detroit, Chicago White Sox or Oakland fan, but I'm not talking about you guys. And I'm going to talk about Boston and New York. They're the 2 teams that are fighting for the whoever's going to win the East Division.
Right.
And I think I'm going to concede, and maybe that's silly, but I'm still going to do it. I'm going to concede one of the wild cards to the team that doesn't win that division.
Yeah.
I think they're that much decidedly better than everybody else. But real briefly, I know you bleed Yankees. Do you think they have a chance to overtake the Red Sox?
I don't think so.
I don't either. But I do think they have a chance to get healthy and make some headway into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But right now,
and I was telling you about CC Sabathia.
yeah, he's going to be out for another couple weeks.
I think it's season ending.
Oh my God, I didn't realize that.
I think he needs a knee operation.
Oh, okay. I just saw the thing. It says he's been placed on the DL with on the DL with the right knee pain. But
Yeah.
you're saying it looks like surgery.
Yeah.
Well, that's a setback. But the Yankees always seem, and I mean this, they will get somebody of. In fact, if they want Nova back, I'll bet the Pirates would probably work out a deal.
Right.
Nova's pitching okay for the Pirates, but I mean he's a fairly good pitcher. He has his ebbs and flows, but if they want somebody 8 innings, he'll give you 6-7 innings every time he pitches. So maybe they ought to think about making a deal with Pittsburgh.
and he's proven that he can pitch in New York.
Oh, he can pitch. He's not a bad pitcher.
Right.
He's just he sometimes he's going 7 innings for 1 run, and he's on a streak now where it's 6 innings and 4 runs. He's not getting shelled. He's just he's just not making the key pitch at the key time, which is obviously the name of the game. But
and I think what's hurting the Yankees, one of the things that's hurting the Yankees right now is Aaron Judge has gone ice cold.
well, but that was anybody that strikes out 200 times, you're going to get that, and that doesn't mean I don't think I know anybody that strikes out 220 times, but is consistently just ripping the cover off the ball every day. I mean, he's going to have his ebbs and flows. And in fact, did he get the ball in the infield last night? He got walked twice.
Yeah.
He's 0 for 2. The guy that I think is is hurting him is Sanchez because he's having some real defensive issues.
Yeah.
Real defensive issues. Is that something that just happened, or has he always been?
No, he was pretty good, and now all of a sudden, he's not hitting like he did last year, and I wonder if that's getting into his head.
That might be.
It's hard to say, but was Aaron Hicks?
Yeah.
They got him back, and I think
that helps.
I think last night was his first game back, and he made an impact. And,
definitely helped them, no question. But they've got, like I said, I just think Boston's got a little better pitching staff, and a little better lineup right now.
Right. Well, and they're almost mirror images because they have the better starting pitcher, but the Yankees, I think, have the better bullpen.
Yes, I agree with that. Although Kimbrel, it's tough to argue with his success.
Wow.
He's been pretty good.
I just want somebody to snap off that stupid arm that he has over there.
I'll tell you what, but and I'll get off these two teams real quick, but to me, for the Yankees, the guy that makes them go is Gregorius.
Yeah.
And he's proven that he's a heck of a ball player. Yeah. And they need him to be the catalyst, and they can't afford to have him go flat.
Right.
If he goes flat, they got problems. By the same token, Boston's the same way with Betts. If Mookie Betts goes on they've lost Pedroia. They're concerned about Pedroia. Pedroia, he's like Gregorius is for the Yankees.
That'd be a big blow.
That'd be a big blow.
Yeah.
And it looks to me like he's got another 2 weeks or something before they figure out what Pedroia is going to do. So he's sitting out. But there's their East Division. And, again, I think Cleveland's going to run away with the Central Division. But I got to tip my hat to Minnesota. Minnesota's doing everything they can. They've got a 6-game win streak just to keep themselves in the playoff.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make the playoff. Right now they're in it, I think. But I don't think that they're going to outlast Kansas City or Tampa Bay or the Angels even, or Seattle. I don't know if they have enough staying power, but they've certainly proven me wrong before.
Yeah, I don't think Kansas City's going to be a threat.
No, I don't either. I think if you ask me for the playoff picture, I would say it's going to be New York, and I would certainly think about Seattle. Although Seattle Paxton, who's looked like Sandy Koufax, he's hurt apparently.
Right.
So he's going to be out for 3 weeks. So maybe I can rescind that and just go with maybe even Tampa Bay. I don't know. I'm not feeling it with
Well, look at how the Angels have come on.
Yes. The Angels are playing steady ball.
Yeah, Trout's back.
Back and he's playing well.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe, in fact, that's interesting to see which one of those. You got 5 teams vying for one playoff spot.
Yeah.
And right now, you like the Angels, and I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
Well, I'm just saying L.A. is in the mix. I actually like Tampa Bay as well.
Okay, well there you go. So that'd be the scoop on that. But and moving then to the West Division, Houston's sitting back and watching the fun start. And they got a couple teams 13 back that are fighting against each other.
Do you see Houston lost 4 in a row and have gone 2-8 in their last 10?
I don't know if that's because they've necessarily hit the wall or they're just that happens. I don't know if it's the fact that they're not motivated to. I mean, they're way up on everybody. They're going to probably have the best record in the American League.
Right.
I don't know if they've been sitting anybody back or if they've had anybody hurt, but I'll tell you what. I know they run Charlie Morton out. He's 9-5 now. Charlie Morton's a decent pitcher, but he's not a world beater. I mean, if he's their number 4 guy, they're doing okay. But
right.
I'm looking at their lineup. That's pretty impressive. Altuve, Beltran. I mean, they put some pretty good sticks in that lineup. Springer. That looks pretty good to me. So I just don't think they have anything to worry about. They just got to hope none of their pitchers gets hurt. But the American League, yeah, that's interesting. So you got Boston, you got Cleveland, you got Houston. I think New York's going to have one of the wild cards. And then it's between Tampa, Baltimore, Kansas City, Minnesota, Los Angeles, Seattle, and Texas. That's a logjam. That's 7 teams fighting for the last playoff spot.
I think it's going to come down to Tampa Bay and the Angels.
I think you're right, actually. So go with that. Quickly over in the National League, The Nationals probably not getting the press they deserve. They look pretty impressive to me, but Los Angeles is making them. Los Angeles is just
Right.
clubbing everybody they play.
Yeah.
Everybody, and I don't want to see them lose. But I mean, remember Seattle ran the table 12 years ago, and they got beaten in the
Yeah.
playoffs. So they need they need Kershaw healthy.
Yeah.
They really do.
I'm not a big Dusty Baker fan. I think he
Dusty's like he always picks and chooses his spots.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's usually wrong. That's
Yeah,
I
no.
mean he's best to just make up the lineup card and just sit back.
yeah, you're right. I agree with that.
that.
But you got, like I said, Los Angeles, and it really does look like Colorado and Arizona are going to romp to the 2 wild cards. Cardinals have made a big push,
Yeah.
but I mean the Cardinals have as much chance of winning the division as they do as being the wild card. I mean, they're a game out in the division race, and they're still 5 or 6 out in the wild card race. So they have it would behoove them to win the division.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. The Milwaukee, I didn't think they were that good to begin with. If you remember the Brewers,
Yes.
and maybe they'll get hot again, but they're leaking so much oil, it's scary. They've lost 5 in a row. They lost 6 in a row because they lost again last night, and they're getting beat by teams. Minnesota beat them.
Boy, that
Right.
National League Central just looks like no one wants to win it. though.
Well, I'm not sure any of the teams are that good. I guarantee you, Pittsburgh's 2.5 or 3
they're
out.
3 out, and actually Pittsburgh has as good a chance as
They
anybody.
do, but realistic. When McCutcheon got hurt seriously
Yeah,
last night,
right.
they got big problems.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I mean, their pitching lineup isn't going to scare. They pitch. Cole's not bad. Taeyon's okay.
Right.
But you got to go with Nova, Cool, and I forget who else. Trevor Williams, who's pitching tonight. That's pretty weak starting pitching team.
I know they don't have a shot. I'm going to go back to the National League East.
Yeah.
Miami. I know they don't have a shot, but I just want to bring up Giancarlo Stanton.
You can't-
Oh my goodness gracious.
It's too bad this didn't happen. If he was with one of the teams that were leading or in the play,
Yeah.
this is amazing. He's hit 20 home runs in 31 games.
Yeah.
Let's do the math on that. That's prorate that over a season. That's over 100 home runs.
Right.
I mean, you talk about one heck of a rate. And to his credit, he was. I don't even think he's swinging for the fences. He's actually maintained his average between 275 and 280.
Right.
He's always going to strike out once in a while, but tell you what, he doesn't hit any cheap ones.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Nope.
So, if he didn't sign a long-term deal, he's going to get a lot of money at the end
Right.
of this season. Somebody's going to want him. So,
Well, they were talking about trading him.
I can't see it, but you're right. I guess what's he, 23 or 24? A guy's hitting.
Young. Yeah.
He's hitting 80. I mean, he's a big stud guy. I don't know if he's a great fielder or not, but
Right.
he looks like a solid ball player. So,
I just wanted to bring him up.
no, I'm
before-
glad you did because he's doing something that's really unique.
Yeah.
That's remarkable. You don't see that too often. But
And then the surprising team to me is Chicago Cubs.
but what everybody's having a down year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zobrist, Bryant, Rizzo,
Right.
Arrieta, Kendrick, Lester.
All of them. Yeah.
There's not one guy that's maintaining his pace.
Right.
Schwarber's having a horrible year. There's nobody maintaining it. Now maybe it'll all kick in for him.
Right.
Like I said, I'm looking at the teams chasing them. I don't think they have much to sweat if they're a good team. If they aren't, then they're going to play. These teams are all going to knock each other off in the next month.
Right.
So we'll see
But
where.
St. Louis is hot.
St. Louis is really playing well.
Yeah.
They got everybody hitting at the same time. Their pitching's coming around.
Right.
So keep an eye on them. I mean, good grief. They're 1 game back. That's they really are. Their manager was on the hot seat a month ago.
Yeah.
Now they want to carry him around. Aren't fans great?
Yes.
But to their credit, they have turned this whole season around, and they're playing good ball. The fact they went in and beat Kansas City at Kansas City in 3 games that Kansas City desperately needed to win shows that they're playing some pretty good baseball.
Yeah, I don't think, and we touched on the NL West with Colorado and Arizona. I don't think anybody's going to catch them. So, if any of those teams in the Central have a shot at the playoffs, they're going to have to take the division.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. But you were talking about another player to watch, obviously Stanton, but this Nolan Arenado from Colorado.
Yeah,
he's got 100 RBIs. I mean, he's hitting. What's he hitting? Let me see if I can find. Here he is, right in front of me. He's hitting .315 with 26 homers and 100 RBI. And he's a very good defensive third baseman. I mean, these are the young stars.
Right.
You're not going to hear much about him because he's in Colorado. But Arenado, just like Paul Goldthwait's a heck of a player. Goldschmidt, what I call him, Bobcat Goldthwait. Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt in Arizona.
The rally.
These are great players that you're just not going to hear anything about.
Yep.
So, too bad. But Arenado's amazing. Stanton's amazing, and Judge's. I think he's had an amazing season, but he's got to come back to earth a little bit.
Yeah, but if he heats up a bit, then things are going to change dramatically.
Obviously, he can heat up.
Yeah.
And so can Sanchez.
Yeah.
Sanchez is down a little bit now, too.
Yeah.
He's only hitting .266. And Judge hitting .292. Yeah. Gregorius is still maintaining a .300 batting average. Headley, Ellsbury looks like he's on his last legs. We'll see what happens. But, having Hicks back, it's laying there for the Yankees. If Judge or Sanchez, if they both get hot at the same time, yikes! That'll be one heck of a team. But that's our baseball wrap up, and we got all sorts of rants coming up.
Very nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here in WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We're sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. I was actually just there the other day, and they got a lot of nice selections of cars. And that Jeep Wrangler that new Jeep Wrangler is gorgeous. We will be right back after these messages from our sponsors. And we are back with the Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410. Our call-in number is 352-315-1410. And
what? No, I'm just having fun with you. The fact of the matter is, I have a couple things to talk about. Not a mini rant, but I think one that needs to be ranted. First of all, I guess Usain Bolt is going to hang it up. And I acknowledge that he was a phenomenal sprinter.
Right.
And you can't go on forever. So good for Usain Bolt. But I just wanted to bring that up and acknowledge it. Here's another article in the Village's Daily Sun about American women. Americans finished historic 1 and 2 in the steeplechase. And they actually outran 2 Kenyans to the finish line. Ended up 1-2 in the steeplechase of the World Championships. For the latest improbable triumph for a stable of U.S. long-distance runners who keep getting stronger. You know what? And the coach says, we've been pushing it there. It's a good thing. I'm thrilled for him. But I'm going to ask you nicely and ask everybody, please don't be jerks when you're interviewed. I want to like our Olympic hopefuls, and I like that. And then I get to see them when they're like, I'm going to bring up, is it Hope Solo? Is that?
Yes.
I can't take them. You know what I mean? You've had and the other Ryan, whatever his name is, the girl, a guy that was a swimmer that was race.
Right.
Lochte. Yeah, thank you. I just want them to be humble, decent.
Right.
I mean, they come off like such schmoes to me when you interview them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear that. Oh, they're all excited. You can still be humble, and you can still be appreciative of what I don't expect you to go into look what talents God gave me. If they don't want to do that, they don't have to do
Right.
it. But the fact of the matter is, I get so tired because I think, oh, I'm going to get you a chance to. I want to like
Wow.
them. I want to like them all, and I never get to because a
Right.
lot of them are basically not likable.
And what's amazing, if you want to compare and contrast, I'm going to bring up Aaron Judge again.
yeah.
A very humble guy.
Yes. Yes.
Good sense of humor. And now that he's kind of cooled off,
Yeah.
he certainly has like a lot, like people support him instead
Of
of
course.
going, ha, you
Yeah,
got
well,
your
he's not chest beating and telling everybody how great he
Right.
is. He's just he puts it in perspective.
Right.
And I'm glad you brought him up because he's the antithesis of what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. That's exactly right. And there are people like that. The one I think I told you before when she came up, Michelle Wee hadn't won anything in 3 years, but she
Right.
played a men's tournament. So she's getting commercials, she's getting all this, and everybody's fawning. It's one of those things where here they're scrolling on ESPN the ladies' golf scores, and it's always like here's 4 women that are leading the tournament, and they always put Michelle Wee score, even though she's 7 over.
Right.
And I think, why
Yeah.
are they doing
Dot,
that?
dot,
Yeah,
and
yeah. But you know what? But then I heard her interviewed. I root for her.
Yeah.
She's a nice, humble, genuinely appreciative person of everything that's been laid at her feet. And I am tired, and I don't know about the other guys. I don't know about Bolt. I don't know about these 2 girls that beat the Kent. So I don't know.
Right.
But the thing about, I'm glad we brought up Bolt because I want to get on this rant with you. I think you can help me out here because I think we've had this discussion.
Okay.
But the phrase, the article that the newspaper reporter, I don't know who the editor put this in about. Let me see if I can put it in here. Is it too soon to ask Usain Bolt, please come back? The superstar who made athletics fun and watchable. Now, and watchable for the past decade returns to track. It's like the world's going to disappear when the guy leaves. And I have nothing against Usain Bolt.
Right.
But is that what is fun? Is that what makes it watchable? A guy who stands there and mugs for the camera and points at people as he runs by them? Is that where we are as a society? And if it is, to me, I don't want to hear about it's this. Let's make it fun.
Right.
I get so mad. The fun is watching your team win,
Right.
not this in-your-face
Well,
chest-beating
I agree.
malarkey.
I do like.
It bothers me
I
so much.
do like real exuberance. I don't
It
like
doesn't.
fake
It
exuberance.
doesn't exist. It
Well,
doesn't-
I mean, you see real exuberance sometimes, but what? You,
Oh, yes,
what you
but
see
I'm talking
far
about-
too often is the fake.
But
it's
it's
the
chore-
dances.
it's
and
choreographed when it comes
shooting
to-
the arrow.
when
and
it
things
yes,
like
when it
that.
comes time for the, but
Right.
you know what you want, catch the spontaneity of
Yeah.
it. But after somebody's had 10 minutes to sit
Right.
back and think, and they still come out and they're jerks.
Right.
It's not fun for me to watch people who were now they trained. I know they worked hard, but they had some God-given ability laid at their feet,
Right.
and they're going to act like the world owes them something.
Right.
And you don't have to be like that. You don't have to be like
Right.
that. And I'm going to get, hush my mouth, but because I know he's beloved now that but Muhammad Ali basically started it.
Right.
Now you can say, oh, he's smart like a fox or crazy like a fox because he's just promoting his fights.
Right.
And I think there was a lot of that went into it. But I and I'm sure there are some interviews where he was actually humble and very complimentary of his opponents. But that's not what got promoted. So I don't
Yeah.
hold it against him.
Right.
I think that the press said, here's a chance for us to, and I don't think that the players go out when you're practicing to be a good ball player. I don't think you practice your dances. Maybe you do now.
I
Maybe
think they do.
That to me is heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's why I don't like those. Especially football is by far the worst.
Heartbreaking. It's
Right.
heartbreaking to me
Right.
to watch somebody that I would be so. If I was ever blessed to be that fast or that talented or that athletic, and I know it's easy to say this, but I really think I would never. I would try to go the way of Aaron Judge.
Yeah,
This
me too.
this idiocy about look at me, look what I did, especially in a team sport.
Yeah.
If they're playing, I guess as long as the players on the team don't mind. But if you're a running back and you run 50 yards for a touchdown and then you look for the camera in the end zone to pound your chest and scream into the camera and spike the ball, hey, there's some guys that were blocking for you,
Right.
Clarence. You know, you ought to maybe pay attention to them a little
Right.
bit. They're the ones that got you in the end zone. But I never see it.
Yeah.
Never see it.
Yeah.
Now, I used to. Now you don't.
Right.
Now it's, I'm on prime time. And I think, here we go. And then the stupid argument from the liberal media about, well, he's just having fun.
Right.
No, he's not. He's not having fun. He's being obnoxious. And there's a big difference.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. So that's my rant on that.
I like
but
it.
I just like the fact that let's bring him back. Why? So because he can point at people as he runs by them in races.
Yeah.
I mean, he seemed like a genuinely half decent guy when they interviewed him the one time.
Right.
He was giving. Was he the one that actually said they stopped the interview because
Yeah.
I mean that impressed me.
Right.
He actually, and I don't think that was something that he choreographed. I think he genuinely said, "Hold on here,
Right.
They got these going on. Let's, do you know what I'm talking about?"
Yeah, the national anthem.
That's right. It was a national anthem
Right.
after a team had
And
won.
that wasn't even his country.
No, a
you
team
know?
won a
It's like,
gold medal, but
yeah.
he said, "Let's stop this."
Right.
That was classy.
Yeah.
So he's got me in his corner.
Yeah.
I think he's a showboat. I also think he's a great sprinter.
We're talking about Usain Bolt, and he's from Jamaica.
Yes.
And I'm going to digress a bit since we're talking about Usain Bolt. We're a country of 310 million people
Yeah.
right now.
Is
And it amazes me that we don't dominate every single sport. What does Jamaica have, like 1.5 million?
yeah. Well,
I mean, 2 million?
but
or-
that's a one-time shot. Now,
Yeah,
who's,
but-
who's got the top 50? Who's got the top 20 runners? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
if you,
guess.
it's a one-hit wonders.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. He accomplished it.
Oh, sure.
He's that good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess my point is it even makes it even more impressive because he comes from such a small country, and you
Sure.
just think the talent pool wouldn't be as big as, a country like
weather
the United
be a lot
States.
nicer to train in.
Yeah.
But no.
So I'm actually impressed with that. I'm actually impressed with athletes from small countries.
Oh, my
that just
gosh,
go
yeah.
dominate, and
You have to. Like I said, I even look at like somebody like Roger Federer. I mean, from Switzerland.
Right.
I mean, how many great tennis players is he playing in Switzerland?
Yeah.
Here we got academies every 5 blocks, and he's comes out of Switzerland. That's
I think like virtually every college and university has a tennis team, and
Yeah.
it's amazes me. you know.
But I'm glad I brought him up because he is, and now maybe I don't have him down, but he seems like a genuinely humble champion, like an Arthur Ashe.
Right.
He doesn't chest beat and tell you how great he is.
Right.
Oh, I've won how many 20-some major.
I-
I'm the best.
Well, and here's the thing, and I'm going to bring up, I guess, the antithesis of him is the, now I can't remember his name.
Connors.
Yeah, no.
McEnroe.
McEnroe.
Yeah.
I actually liked watching that. But
Why?
what I don't know, it entertained me.
He'd
It made
argue,
me laugh.
He'd
But what
every close line call that
Well,
was called
yeah,
against him,
I mean,
he would obnoxiously argue it.
Right. And but having said that, what you can't have is you can't have 10 of those. You could have one, and then you can look at them, and you can
But kids emulate it.
right.
Kids, I got to be like John McEnroe. So you got kids throwing their rackets and boinging them and
Right.
screaming at people. And you know what? I give him credit because just like Johnny Miller, I think he is an exceptionally good
Right.
announcer.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best tennis players. Not obviously, but he was one of the 3 or 4 best tennis players of his generation.
Right.
But I think he's an exceptionally good announcer. I think he, just as with Jimmy Connors, Tad Bratty,
Yeah.
when he was 18 and 17 years old.
Right.
And you know who else was like that? And I don't know if she's outgrown it, is Serena. I've seen Serena say some really demeaning things to people in the chair.
Right.
About who do you think, who I am? Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
That type of stuff. And but I think that she's bailed out on that. And
Right.
but as her career is winding down.
Whenever somebody says do you know who I am? To me, they should be instantly sent to a gulag in a middle of the Siberia.
You're way too impressed with yourself if that's the case.
Yes.
And I'm not sure that McEnroe was that way.
Right.
But he was so competitive. Everything was arguable, and no, that's obnoxious.
Yeah.
That's the good or bad part of tennis is a quarter of an inch separates a phenomenal shot from a bad one.
Yeah.
And so I just don't. You either respect. These are the people that are calling the lines. I respect them,
Right.
or you don't.
Right.
And he didn't. I didn't think. So that bothered me. But let's just talk about his tennis ability, par excellence, phenomenal.
Right.
Talk about his ability, and I always wondered how this would translate to analyze matches. Exceptional.
Right.
I think he's excellent, great, as good as anybody on the. I thought he'd be more controversial. He's not.
Yeah.
He just sits back and says, "Here's what you're doing. Here's what he's really good."
Yeah.
Really, and so is his brother. But I just have I didn't find it more fun watching McEnroe. I had fun because McEnroe he was so good.
Maybe it's not the fun. I just found it entertaining.
Okay.
That whether you say fun or
All right. Well,
it's like what I hate about replay is that the managers aren't flying out and going nuts anymore, and that to me was very entertaining.
But that's not the player itself.
No, I know, but
that's, I agree with you. When the manager who has not picked a baseball bat up in 20 years goes out and starts lifting bases out of the ground and kicking dirt on umpire, that's just
high drama.
That's just for show.
Right.
That's
of course.
That's not choreographed. In fact,
right.
He wouldn't go out there and look that stupid if he knew how stupid he looked.
Yeah.
But it's just fun.
Right.
But I used to love to watch. Oh, there's no part. But that's a whole different argument because what that is because of the rules that have changed in baseball. You don't get to see that.
Right.
That would still. But this had nothing to do with rules. This is just human behavior based on, if it's like players doing it, like Roberto Alomar spitting on an umpire. I don't like that.
Yeah,
It's to me, that puts you up here, and this little peon I'm going to spit on, and I think, well, how goofy is that?
I want to bring up this story. I'm going to
I like stories.
Indulge myself here.
Indulge me.
And I've told you this story off the air with Tommy Lasorda.
Yes,
and
I love that.
And it was like, they're losing, and Lasorda's frustrated, and it's late in the game. And so there's a stupid play at like third base or whatever, and he comes flying out of the dugout and screaming and throwing his hat down, and he's like goes to the umpire, he's like, "Where are you going to dinner tonight?" And he's like, he's making all
animated.
Yes, it's like, "There's a great Italian restaurant over there. That's where I'm going tonight. You ought to go there." It's like,
and throwing his hat down in the dirt and kicking dirt on it. I mean, that's great. I mean, but you know what? That's baseball lore. I love that type of stuff. Yes. That's exactly right. I mean, so you got to, but just to demean somebody by spitting on them, or speaking into a microphone.
What I didn't understand, and I know this happened years ago with Alomar, was why he wasn't got given a huge suspension. I mean, I find that so repulsive.
It is repulsive
to do that,
But I don't forgive him for it.
No.
But I mean, I shouldn't say that. Everybody makes. In fact, we have a couple minutes. Sure. We'll talk a little tennis last segment only because we got a couple things going on. But there's this Shapovalov. I'm not pronouncing it. Shapovalov or whatever his name is. There's a guy named Dennis Shapovalov, and he upset Rafael Nadal, and he's in the semis. I see he beat Mano Marino in 3 sets. He's in the semis of the Montreal tournament, and he's 18 years old. He's got the hat on backwards. Right. Very talented, very goofy. But he, when he was playing in a tournament last summer. And it was a major tournament, but he wasn't a big name at that point. But he missed a shot, and he disgustedly swatted the ball with his racket and put it right into the eye of the guy who was gone, and the guy suffered some eye damage. Now he was, after he did it, I mean, he didn't act like who cares.
Right.
He was white, and he had his hands on his face, and he went over and sat down, and he was. Now you could say, oh, he's just worried about, he's going to get punished.
Right.
And he did. He got suspended, I think, for 3 or 4 games or something. And now he's the one that he's back in the limelight, and it looks like he has learned his lesson. But I guess I can let everybody. I just think spitting on an umpire is not it's like I said, I find the actions detestable.
Yeah.
Anybody that would hit a ball indiscriminately hard is not paying attention to other
Right.
human beings.
Right.
And that I get mad at.
Right.
Now, if he learned something from it, great. I guess Alomar didn't do it anymore. But I just want to bring that up because the kid is actually, and we'll talk about him a little more after the break, but he's starting to get back in the limelight. He's obviously very talented. So we'll see where that goes. But we'll be back with mini rants and tennis and golf.
All right, cool. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, your community service radio station, now broadcasting Leesburg Yellow Jacket football games on Friday nights at 7 p.m. And we are sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. We'll be right back after these messages. Oh, I guess we lost our music.
Somebody let the dogs out.
Yeah.
That happens. Okay. Let that dog out. It must have been the cat. Yeah.
Right. It's the rally cat.
Rally cat. I like that. But, okay, well, we're back with the final segment and a couple things I want to talk about real quickly. The tennis, which is a big deal going on up in Canada. And the men's is the going into the semis. You got Robin Haas, Roger Federer, Alexander Zverev, who is an amazing 18-year-old German player, and this Denis Shapovalov. There, I said it right. And he is Canadian, believe it or not, with the name of Shapovalov. But he's the one that was saying that, just wrapping up what we were talking about, you can't, and I've actually played in a lot of platform tennis champion. You can't indiscriminately just swat a ball because guess what? It can hit somebody.
Yeah.
And I was lucky. I learned at a very young age. I was throwing a little rubber football around. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And there are these, it was up at a club where the ladies were sitting at tables having tea and talking. And sure enough, I threw the ball to my friend, and it got away from me, and it hit a table and knocked tea all over all these ladies who were beautifully dressed up. And
Good job. I knew there was a reason I liked you.
And I'll tell you what, I'll never forget the embarrassment of having to go up and apologize to them.
Right.
And I was told, and you know how I'm lucky because it's like a lot of people that still speed in 55-mile-an-hour speed zones, and they never get a ticket.
Right.
So they continue to speed.
Right.
But I got a ticket early, so
Yeah.
I was smart enough to figure it out. So I don't give myself credit for it. I'm just saying I remember because I was told, you better not do that. You don't do it. Okay,
Right.
I got it. Bling, smash, I smash. And so I ruined, 5 or 6 ladies' morning.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, there's an accountability for that. I don't want to hear I'm young. I was told, and I just didn't take it seriously. Now I take it seriously. If I play any sport where somebody takes a ball and chucks it because he's mad or throws his racket, I'll tell him, that better not hit anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not in the mood for that. So, but that's, like I said, hopefully he's learned his lesson. Now he's 18. He's got talent, so he's going to start. He may very well win this tournament. I don't know if he's playing. I don't think he's playing Federer in the semis, but this Shapovalov, as I pronounce. But keep an eye on him, and he's the classic. I wear my hat on backwards type guys. You know, I never did that when I used to play. I always had have a baseball or golf hat on.
Right.
Now, it's really hip or neat, I think, to put it on backwards.
Yeah.
And I would think every time you raise your head up, the bill would hit your neck. But obviously, these guys flip it up or know what they're doing. But I mean, so hats off to him. So he's doing that, but he's doing great. No, actually, over in Toronto, the women are playing. Here's a name from the past who just beat the top seed, and that was an OVA, by the way. But the Caroline Wozniacki from Denmark, 6th seed, beat the number 1 seed. And Sloane Stevens from the United States beat another OVA, Lucy Safarova from the Czech Republic. So yesterday the over-under was -2. The overs went down to Wozniacki as well as Sloane Stevens, an American. So that should be big news. And I don't know how it's going to get covered, but that's big news. Let's talk a little bit about the PGA because it was a big deal. You heard Jordan Spieth, because Jordan Spieth had a chance to win the Grand Slam,
right,
and win, and he's 11 back, and I'm sure he's saying, to his credit, he's honest. They said, "Well, you think you need to shoot?" He said 54. He said, "I don't think." He said, I'm out of the tournament."
Right.
He said, anybody need to verification? Take a look. I got about 70 people ahead of me. So, but so I guess the thrill of the luster is gone on that,
right.
And I guess that's understandable. But let's talk about the guys that are doing well. This Hideki Matsuyama, who won last week, is he's playing like the top player in the world,
right?
And he's won 4 tournaments already this year. If he is able to hold on and win this, I don't know if the world's ready for a Japanese number 1 in golf, but they're going to get one because he's that good, and I got to give him credit. Jason Day's actually got it. You know, there's some names in here that everybody. Fowler, I guess the press has dubbed him to be the American sweetheart now. I like Ricky Fowler.
By the way, Ralph just pulled up.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay,
I just wanted to interrupt.
We were worried about that. You mean pulled up in the parking lot?
Yeah.
All right. I guess that
trying to knock you off your game.
That
there.
knocked me off my game. It did because first thing I thought was here's Ralph. I went, oh, Ralph from River Jordan. I'm sorry, but as far as local flavor, you got Patrick Reed. He's even. Dustin Johnson's 2 over. It's I don't know. That's the problem with golf. Somebody's going to shoot lights out that you're not even paying attention to.
Yeah. And
they're going to go in and either take control of this tournament. Matsuyama might be the guy. He might shoot another 66 and run away with it. You don't know. But at the PGA at Charlotte, this course is apparently impressing the heck out of everybody. It's really a good golf course. It's up in Charlotte, and a lot of great players. A lot of great players didn't make the cut. Mickelson didn't make it. Bubba didn't make it. Bubba Watson. Right. So you got to be able to deal with it. But that's the fun of that. But I wanted to touch base on that so I can go to my last rant, and we're going to be ranting short and sweet. But and this is something that I think I've talked on before. But I the more I hear it from announcers, the more I think 2 or 3 things. Very lazy. Man, these guys are lazy. And they're trying to feed a notion, and maybe I'm wrong in thinking this, but I do not want to hear anybody refer to LeBron James as LJ. I don't want to hear Kevin Durant be KD or Carmelo Anthony be Melo. Right. I'm tired. It's almost like, hey, me and KD are buddies.
Right.
No, look, and I know the players aren't going to say, don't call me KD or whatever, but the fact that, to me, it's so lazy.
Yeah.
Nicknaming players that you don't know that well is the laziest way of announcing that I've ever heard. And I don't know if that bothers you the same way it bothers
Jessica
me.
Mendoza.
Oh, yeah. Well, but she does it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just on one of the guys, I'm going to call you Booney. Right. And I think, well, okay, that's fine. But I'm not in on the joke.
Right.
You talking about Aaron Boone?
Yeah.
Are you talking about, who are you talking about when you're talking call him Booney to
The
somebody.
guy who does it to me the worst, it just drives me out of my mind, is Joe Girardi on the Yankees.
Is that?
When he's doing the lineup, he's just got a nickname for everybody.
Well,
and
I
it's just
think,
like,
but you
oh
know
my
what?
God.
I'll forgive a manager.
No, not me.
A manager can do that,
Right.
right? And Ralph, he let me know you pulled in. That was pretty nice of him. He goes, "Hey, Ralph's in here." I said, "Oh, geez, all right." He's in the house. But no, getting back to the, can't you let managers do it? Because
No.
I don't like it, but at least I give
Every
them
single one of them.
No,
You know?
that's
It's like-
right. It's not like David who's playing shortstop. It's got to be
Right.
old Grabby or Zipper or Fleabag's having a heck of a year, and I think, what? Please, just tell
Well,
me.
it's usually like it's not even a nickname like that. It's more of like the last name, like Gardy. Gardy. I'm gonna have Gardy leading off. and
Rocky,
then,
yeah, Rocky
'cause
Gardy. Gardner.
Right.
Gardy's
It's like-
leading off, followed by the
Yeah.
judge, followed
Right.
by Sanchi,
Right.
or Gabo, or
Right.
give
Yeah.
yeah. But you know what? You're right. That is tough to take when the managers give out the lineup card. But I give them a pass because they're actually in the game. But
Yeah.
the guys that are announcing,
Right.
they figure it's time to. I don't have the time to call him LeBron James.
Right.
I can't call him LJ, and I can call him KD and Melo. But I said, why don't you?
And then obviously people have the same initials, and then you start getting confused, and it's like.
but it's just it's the ultimate lazy move,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm
And-
wrong here,
and it's-
but I'm looking at it from a cynic, thinking they're trying to act like they're
their pals are gonna
we're-
hang out
yeah,
after
we're
the
all
game,
buddies.
or-
I'm going to go out with KD afterward and
Right.
have a beer. I said I don't think so.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, and the players can't win. If the players go and say, "I wish you'd call me something else," they look like jerks.
Right.
So they have to smile, and maybe some of them
Well,
like
unless
it.
you're David Price, you don't have a problem.
David didn't seem to like Eckersley's
No, that was
criticism of it.
Right.
I love it. But no, am I overreacting to this? Tell me, because you're on the defense.
No,
you usually
I
defend the,
am not a nickname kind of guy. I just
All right. But am I wrong in my analysis? Do you think it's lazy?
it's part lazy. I think it's very gimmicky. And
I guess that's what
and that's kind of annoys me.
It's
That-
trite.
yeah.
It's trite. It's easy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not over here going, hey, GM, where are you going
Right.
for lunch? GM,
Right.
and
General Motors.
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
Right.
wait, it's two little lousy words,
Right.
And now if it was Siwamikan Punabonyaras or something,
Right.
you want to call her SB, that's fine. but I don't think we have to call somebody with the last name of James by their initial.
Hey, I'm going to change the subject.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. This happened this week, but there was the passing of Don Baylor and
Yes.
Darren Dalton.
Darren Dalton, and unfortunately, two big losses because they're both so young.
Yeah.
Both succumbed to cancer. But Darren Dalton, I mean, brain cancer is scary.
Yeah.
That's very scary. He's only 55, I think, when
Right.
he died. But he was, for all intents and purposes, not a great baseball player. He was good.
Right.
Baylor was borderline Hall of Fame.
Right.
I don't think he's in,
No.
but he was borderline.
Yeah.
He put some numbers up.
Yeah.
But Dalton was one of those guys, played through all the injuries. He tore
Yeah.
up his leg. He tore everything up, and he
Right.
come back and play. And he was like a matinee idol, a good-looking guy. They,
Yeah.
loved him in Philadelphia.
Won the
And
World Series with them.
He won the World Series, and he was apparently he was your typical hard-nosed baseball player.
Right.
You take it, never bellyached, and just shut up and played. And
Right.
he was in pain. He tore up his knee, I think, a couple times, or his back, or something. I can't remember what his problem was, but he had
Right.
some physical issues.
Sure.
But now that I think that I'm glad you brought them up because I would have forgotten to do that.
Yeah.
But
But-
Dalton was a champion, and Baylor was not only a champion player, but he was a champion manager, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Maybe
think,
he didn't win the championship.
no,
was
I
it?
think he was kind of had a
He was at the Rockies
right. He had a mediocre
managing career.
yeah.
Okay, because but
to his defense or whatever, he actually was managing poor teams.
yeah, well,
You know,
that's another
I mean,
thing too.
I think when he was the manager, what was it the Diamondbacks or somebody?
Yeah,
or whatever. It was an
he had-
expansion team.
Well, he had the Rockies.
Rockies.
Yeah,
it was an expand. You know,
Yeah.
he did it like I think he was. I don't know if he was their very first manager, but he managed that team when it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
and he had a lot of losses. I remember him in the Yankees in the '80s, the early '80s, I think.
Yeah.
And, one of the things it's like a trivia question. What team had the most wins in the 1980s? And it was the New York Yankees, and they didn't go to. I think they went to the World Series in '81 and didn't,
yeah.
and they lost to
Yeah.
the Dodgers. But they were always perennial second place finishers, and he was on. He was on those. He was on some good Yankee teams that just didn't win.
Couldn't get over the hump.
Right.
But he was a productive.
Yeah.
Very productive.
Yep.
He had his big years. I want to say was it Seattle or Baltimore?
Well, I'm not really. I don't remember what.
Or even
where he did
California.
win.
I
mean, he had
I'm-
because I would probably say he probably had good seasons with all of those.
Yes.
teams.
Yeah.
And he was and talk about like the Hall of Fame, and I'm not saying he's a Hall of Fame player,
Yeah.
but he's a guy, when he came up to bat, you were like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
You
He's
know.
productive.
Yeah,
Always had 100 some RBIs.
Yeah.
He always seemed to be able to hit guys in.
right.
Yeah. He was
And
productive.
and that's what I recall of him was like, in some of those situations, you were happy to see him come to bat because he usually produced.
Yeah, he did, and you're right. But like I said, two different type of players.
Yeah.
But Dalton was just your hard-nosed catcher,
Right.
and he'd play through pain.
Yeah.
Come back from major injuries early. He just wanted to play,
Right.
and he had a couple fairly productive years.
Yeah.
Not many, but
Right.
a couple,
Right.
because he's always hurt.
Yeah.
Typical catcher,
Yep.
But whenever you hear somebody gets brain cancer, I had a friend of mine in Buffalo who got it, and it's insidious. But thanks for we want to remember them
Yeah.
as being the great players they were to the sport. So. The music's on, and Ralph's in the on-deck circle
Yeah.
with River Jordan. So I will thank everybody for listening, and we will look forward to doing this all again next week.
Well, thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
And you're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here. Appreciate you listening today, and we hope to see you back next week. Our call-in line is 352-315-1410. Write that down so you can call in next week. And we are sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And stay tuned for Ralph with River Jordan and Friends. We'll see you next week, everyone. Have a great weekend and a wonderful week.